Wednesday Night Reviews.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. My name is Konrad, and I'm going to be your host tonight. And I wanted to talk to you guys about another TKO Studios book today. However, this one I am genuinely surprised by. I'd never heard of the creative team before. And by the end of the book, genuinely, I think it might actually be my favorite. Not for the reasons you might be expecting. However, I hope you pick this book up. Now, the book is The Fearsome Doctor Fang. So the Fearsome Doctor Fang is written by Chun, who also wrote Seven Deadly Sins. It's written by Mike Weiss, as well as being drawn by Dan McDaid and colored by Daniela Miwa. Now, Chun wrote Seven Deadly Sins. He is also known for writing Gotham and Once Upon a Time. And after some more research, I found that Mike Weiss has worked on The Mentalist, as well as some other great TV shows. The other creators, Dan McDaid, worked on Judge Dredd, and Daniela Miwa worked on the comic book Shaft. So, I'd never heard of them, but as I picked up the book, there was something very interesting. The Fearsome Doctor Fang, it caught my attention in ways that the title for Sarah or the Seven Deadly Sins just couldn't. There was something about it, a gravity. And the cover on the main book here, the paperback, with the mask as it's shown, it really drew me in. The interesting lettering on the cover, it genuinely just sort of grabbed me. And when I started reading it, I was impressed. So the first thing that you're going to notice when you flip this book open is that it looks old. The book is emulating comic book styles from the 50s to the 70s in the way that it chooses color and the art direction of it. And the writing itself, it feels like Indiana Jones or Carmen Sandiego or other classic serials, these adventure serials about, treasure and crime and detectives. And this book perfectly plays into that. It captures that time span of like the 1930s to the 1930s sort of era, which was shown in comics in the 70s and even as early as the 50s. And between the coloring and the writing, it absolutely takes on that genre. So the Fearsome Doctor Fang focuses on the titular character. Now, the Fearsome Doctor Fang is a world-renowned villain. He's a mystic, a sorcerer, and a thief. And he comes in, he steals what he wants, and he disappears. And he's pursued in this book by Nayland, who's a beat cop who's drunk now as his brother was slain by Fang a few years prior. And he's also pursued by Miss Lacroix, who is the daughter of an archaeologist, and she's a treasure hunter. So this duo chases Fang. Their adventure takes them all the way into deep recesses of China, where they find ancient treasure and history mixed with modern technology. From where the book emulates the genre and how it chooses to show itself, to how it's written, fits perfectly within what it does, but it also feels great. So the writing on this book, the two writers, Chun and Mike Weiss, are decorated writers of entertainment, right? So they've written TV shows for years and years and years. So it's no surprise, once you understand who they are, that this book will be written well. And it is written very consistently, and the story that they show you is very fluid. But what I enjoy most is that they have such a humor with it, and they take on that adventure serial style perfectly. And you see that in the quips that Nayland makes when he doesn't quite understand anything, because he takes that character, the tough guy. He's not terribly intelligent. He's somewhat sociable. He can get through difficult situations on his words, but he's also very strong physically. He's kind of a brute. When he's lost, he makes, sort of one-liners. He's quick to reprimand people and speak his mind. At the same time, Lacroix is extremely witty and intelligent. Like, on her own, she's a wrecking force, but with Nayland, she becomes even better because she can focus on what she does best. She can solve puzzles, she can use martial arts prowess, she can operate machinery, fire weapons. So that as a duo, they become very powerful, and as the series goes on and their adventure continues, we can see them developing their partnership and how they work together, as well as with other characters that they meet. Now, beyond the serial style that this is taking on, what I like is that it doesn't hold itself to that genre too much. So much like Carmen Sandiego, Lacroix in this is extremely independent. She's interesting, and she never feels like a flat character. Like, you could take her and write her own book, and she'd stand on her own, no problem. In fact, TKO, if you're watching, please do that, because that would be pretty cool. That being said, the other characters do the same, and they have enough flexibility to be put in multiple situations, and the writers do their darndest to get them in multiple situations where we can understand who they are better as characters. Now, without obviously giving any spoilers, I highly recommend reading this one because the characters in it are great. Now, beyond the writing, another important part of this medium as a comic book, beyond television, is that your choice in art is extremely important. And they absolutely nailed it with McDaid and Miwa. This book takes on the style of that serials drama, the 70s comic book style, where all the characters, their wardrobes are very simple. Their boots will be more simplistic looking. The shirts are very plain, like a t-shirt, much like what I'm wearing now. But it's never terribly crazy patterns. There's not a lot of mechanical stuff going on. If there's a machine, it's not super detailed like Jim Lee might do. Clothing that's never ridiculously intricate as to look like Cyborg might when you can see all little components and computer chips. It's left plain so that it's visually easier to look at. Now, when it comes to wrinkling and stuff in the fabrics, it looks amazing. So where the creative team chooses to put detail is where it's necessary. So they're not going to make something complex just to make it complex, but to add sustenance to what you're visually taking in. And that's where the landscapes in this book are just shocking. So when you're going through a cityscape, you will literally see brick, like individual bricks in the buildings. One of the parts that impressed me most was during a landscape shot, you could literally see lines in the land in such a way that it almost looked like it could be a topographical map. The story is actually quite simple. It's a straightforward adventure. It's not like an extremely political, tense thing. It's not espionage. It is like a classic adventure. Like, I can imagine a kid reading this. Like, you could literally put this in the hands of a 10 or 12-year-old, and they would love it. And then they would go with their friends, and someone would want to be the Fearsome Doctor Fang. Someone would want to be Nayland. Someone would want to be Lacroix. And please don't take that as, oh, it's a kid's book. It is genuinely such a fun adventure that it wouldn't surprise me that kids would want to be these characters. At the same time, I, as a comic book reader for many years, I am very excited by this book. And when I was going through it, I found myself always wanting, to constantly pick up the next chapter, read the next part. Whereas because of the way I read these books, I read a bit, I put it down, I'll read the next issue, I'll put it down. With this one book, and this has been the only one, I consistently was like, all right, let's pick it up, let's read the next one, let's get the next one, let's get the next piece. Because the adventure is very fluid, much like a film, which is where Chun and Weiss's previous experience shows in this, because that story is perfect. Like, it runs smoothly, where I bet you they probably paneled this thing out like they would a TV or a movie storyboard. So guys, once again, this has been my review for the Fearsome Doctor Fang. Please get this one. The art, the writing, it's great. It's not gonna stress out your mind. It's not some deep political or philosophical dive. It's just a great adventure. You're going to enjoy it. Please do, once again, with all TKO books, you can go to your local comic book store who they can order it, or you can go direct to TKO and get it yourself like I've done. You can get it digitally, so right on your phone or your computer. You can get 6 issues in a collector box, or like I have here, you can get the trade paperback. So thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day.